Welcome to the Voice of Reason Sports Podcast. Make sure you subscribe to the show, leave a comment, and click that like button. Thanks for joining us for another edition of the Voice of Reason Sports Podcast. This is the Marvelous one with Don and Philasophikal back at it for another week of sports talk, recap, and predictions. Before we get into our usual bantering about each other's teams and the games played, I just want to send my thoughts and prayers to the Buffalo Bills safety, Damar Hamlin, and his family after the young man suffered a cardiac arrest in the first quarter of the Monday night game against the Cincinnati Bengals. As of Tuesday, January 3rd, he's still in critical condition at a Cincinnati hospital. I want to commend the first responders for administering CPR immediately when they saw him went down. And, hopefully that was enough to save this young man's life. So, want to keep him in our thoughts and prayers. It's a sad state of affairs of what's going on in the NFL. A lot of people have responded to this in such a way that, it's heartwarming. And so we hope this young man is able to come out of this in a good state. So with that said, just curious to know how do you feel about how the NFL responded on this? Because I think it was like 9 minutes after the incident happened, the NFL finally stepped in and gave the teams 5 minutes to get ready to start the game up again, which I don't know, it just seemed just kind of out of place for me. It just seemed like they should have given this way much more time and allow the players to go back into the locker room and talk and think about this and to really evaluate Damar's status, opposed to really, start thinking about playing the game after such a situation happened. Because immediately, first responders got out there and started doing CPR. And to me, that's scary enough. So just curious to know what's your guys' thoughts on that?
My thoughts are I definitely want to also thank the first responders. Think of a lot of the, getting out there, saving that man's life. Not only doing CPR on him for 8 minutes, but also resuscitating him on the field. I think the most important thing is that, a lot of this was on live television, right? So that should have been a indication to the NFL to say, hey, man, we gotta cut this. You know what I mean? We gotta kind of end this, right? Because it's no longer in the hands of the sport. It's now in the hands of a human being, right? Playing your sport, right? Let's take the money out of it, how much an average player makes. Let's take out the love of the sport. Now you're talking about a human being, right? And it wasn't even a dirty hit. It wasn't a major blow like a head-to-head collision. It looked like a normal, safe hit, right? And the fact that he stood up, right, and then fell right back down, right? And I also want to commend the announcers also. The fact that, just out of respect for just keeping, because I know that could be one of the hardest things, being able to keep a lot of the audience at home under composure, because a lot of the casual fans probably felt that was, who knows, maybe in the first game they ever saw, or maybe they wanted to see what has the NFL been up to, or returning watchers, right? And that's the first thing they see, right? And you just don't see this on a regular basis, right? With the game. And just people that don't even watch football is now talking about this. And it's been headlined by CNN, MSNBC, everybody, that this is serious, right? And to me, I kind of, place a lot of blame on the NFL leadership that they didn't really step in as quick as they did. It actually took them 41 minutes to say, "Hey, we're going to cancel this game." Right? As you said a couple minutes ago, they wanted to say, you guys have 5 minutes to get back on the field. Right? And I commend the coaches. I commend the Cincinnati coach, and I commend the Buffalo coach to say, "Hey, man, we're not going to continue this game." And whether it's going to end in a tie or postpone, or they're going to come back and do this, I really commend the coaches. And I really just, again, it's another letdown by the NFL leadership. I blame Roger Goodell. I blame the corporate executives, ownership, all of that, to kind of even Skip Bayless, kind of the heartless response from him, his tweet. That's kind of the way, hey, 5 minutes, to get back out there and play, man. It's just real
Well,
sad.
well, I'll tell you one thing. You bring up a very good point, and a lot of people just don't think about that. I know we do this on the show. We make fun of things that happen. We say a player is terrible and stuff like that. But all in all, they're human beings, man.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean? They're not pieces on a chessboard or anything like that. They're human beings out there. And when things like this happen, I don't care playoff implications, the importance of this game. To me, all goes out the window.
yeah.
This is bigger than football. This is bigger than sports. This is
Yep,
about that young man's life. So,
yep,
yeah, good point.
yep.
What about you, Don?
Hey, I honestly think that, like I said before, great point of leadership prevailed in this, meaning that the coaches got them off the field. That was the biggest thing, getting them off the field and getting them back to a comfort zone where as though they can try to make sense of this whole situation and then get in contact with the right people. So the people that could make that decision made that decision. I think the leaders on the field said, "Hey, normally I got it. A sprained ankle, a dislocated finger, dislocated shoulder. Yes, is
Yep.
disastrous, but in a volatile sport like that, that's considered normalcy. Uh, Yesterday was not normalcy, and I commend them for, acknowledging that that is not normal, and then making sure that one, leadership, the paramedics there, if any place to, get hurt or anything, that was probably one of the, I think one of his blessings to be in such a
Mm,
place where as though you had all of that experience in one area. I was told that they had good physicians and things of that nature that were actually experts at their profession to be able to administer CPR and also make a proper diagnosis and do the right things and stabilize them before getting them in the ambulance. And that's a credit to the NFL and the Player Association getting that right and saying what they needed on the field and concussion protocol probably led to some of those things and having the right people in the right position at the right time. I also think that moving forward, I think you got to talk about how can you move forward, but I think that this is just my personal opinion. I think that the NFL needs to take a knee and how long that knee takes, I think is probably determined on how how this situation as far as him getting back to healthy and I wouldn't say total health, but I would say being unsedated
mm,
and being able to try to get in the position where as though he could fight on his own for some of the things. Being in a sedated like that, I don't think that any player could be able to continue full speed,
mm.
knowing that this is a violent sport and you can't have speed because if you play football at half speed, somebody's gonna get hurt.
Right.
So understanding that, I think the NFL needs to make the right call. And I
Yeah.
think the first call is to take the first week off,
Yes.
cancel Thursday, cancel this week, and then from that point, evaluate the situation and have leaderships have that tough talk of what does it look like if we had to take a tactical pause. And here's why I say that because you don't have to keep marching on. COVID showed us that you can take a knee and the sport can survive. The NBA did it. They took a knee and they regrouped and they had to make the right decisions and they had to put some things in place. I think the thing that they need to put in place is that they need to allow players to heal. And I don't think the proper counseling has been administered to those players that they can actually, even the ones going at home. And believe it or not, I think players who actually in college football probably need to do some healing too. Parents are watching, the future is watching the football. So that's why I say take a knee on
Yeah.
this.
And I know you and I talked about this earlier about, basically postponing week 18 games, yeah, because this is pretty sad, and yeah, I can see the entire league been affected by this, and I look at it as, yeah, this is serious enough where you have to cancel or postpone. I don't want to say cancel, postpone this week's games. I'm curious to know what you guys think about the game between the Bengals and the Bills, what they should do to put a close to that game. Because right now it's basically postponed, suspended, right? Mm-hmm. I'm thinking they should just end that game in a tie.
Yeah.
You know, it shouldn't be played just because of where we are at this point in the season, the implications of that game as far as it relates to playoffs and things of that nature. I think that game should just end at a tie. That way it doesn't hurt or favor either team. And then when they get back to the games, then it'll all hash itself out on who wins the division between the Ravens and the Bengals and what happens with the Bills and the Chiefs for the conference thing. So that way we just move on from that game. And
yeah.
I think that was my point when I said that they need to look at the whole week. And then from this week and looking at the situation of the players' current condition, then they look at postponing football in general and taking the tactical pause until that individual is, like I said before, he is what we fear the most out of football. And I think this new way and this new generation of understanding what we used to do, seeing somebody walk off the field, and we've seen the adverse effect of concussions and not taking care of a person's body. We want to allow people to make the right decisions and maybe change some processes and things of that nature. But I don't think that anybody in their professional attitude could continue going out on that field. And I got it. They're professionals. It's a difference between being a professional and being a warrior. A warrior goes out there regardless of what they do. I do that in my profession because that's what, because the enemy doesn't get a vote and bullets are flying. But we always have a saying, if there is no bullets flying, nobody should be dying. So until we are able to make sure that this young man is stabilized and in perfect condition, I think we need to take a knee and allow everyone to do some healing, because I do not want nobody to further hurt themselves playing half speed because they are concerned about their health, thinking that they could be the next big injury in football.
No, and I agree with you to a certain extent on it. I think indefinitely might be a bit extreme. And like we talked about earlier, I think there's some precedent here, right? After 9/11, the league shut down the following week games. And then the week after that, they had the games. They had like a celebration of life for the victims. They did a lot of things, and they continued on with the season in honor of those people. At the same time, players were concerned about safety, security, and things of that nature. It's the reality of the thing. They're professionals. So at some point, the game has to go on. So I don't know what the right answer is.
That's where leaders need to make tough decisions. They need to have leaders in position that are thinking about safety, thinking about more than just a dollar. Yes, we want to see football continue. And like I said before, we've seen people take pauses for the fact of safety. The NBA did it, and guess what? They came back just fine. So I think that there's no harm, and the NBA did not lose not $1, not one dime. So I think that you can still move on.
You're saying two different things. They didn't cancel the season. The NBA took a tactical pause to find a suitable situation where they can continue the season on without spreading the virus.
Yes, but that tactical pause could take months. And that's what I mean. They got to be prepared to see it through, to make sure that the healing is done before proceeding forward. So maybe a tactical pause is that, yes, but they need to take a pause, and they can't be a 1 week or whatever. They need to be able to counsel these young men and help them through the mental blocks that they're going to
absolutely
to have behind that.
I do think there's some sort of damage control here. I do think they should probably cancel the week 18.
Yeah.
Just to kind of step away as far as maybe for a week to give the players a little bit of that mental safeness, I guess, quote unquote, is what we call it. If this man, like I said, this young man passes away, I think this is going to be a major blow to the NFL.
Yes, but we
So
hope that he would.
I
We
think
look,
Well, well,
we
I
weren't about to
think
speak to that, but
yeah.
I would just say
I
that.
I
Hold
think
on,
the
hold on.
NFL should tread very lightly on this. I
Well,
think they should
I
tread.
would say
well,
tread
well.
lightly. I would say I would agree, but I would say we wish the young man healthy, a speedy recovery. But at the same time, like you just said before, is we would want to make sure that we are placing the emphasis on the safety of the players and that young man and his family, because we just want to make sure that everybody understands that, this is not normal.
Agree. I agree 100%. But there's a perception here. The perception is that this was on live television, right? This is not a every week a perception of normalcy with this, right? So I think NFL has got to, if they're preaching safeness on this, I think they should really cancel Week 18 to kind of see the results because they need to wait a week on this
Oh
to
yeah,
say
absolutely. I think
if
we're
he
all in agreement with that.
I think they need to make a release to say every day they need to give an update on this young man's health,
Yeah,
right? To say, hey, he's doing better, he's doing well. We're here
right,
with him every step of the way, and that's why I think they should really cancel Week 18,
But also, I
right?
think they should also be looking at long-term effects and having that tough conversation behind closed doors with proper leadership that can make decisions to say, if we do cancel or we do take a tactical pause, what does that look like?
mm.
Like as far as what safety wise,
Safety wise, and also not moving forward until we understand that this young man is okay and able to
So,
come off life support and fight for his,
so
you
let me
know,
ask this question.
things of
Let me
that
ask this
nature.
question.
okay, okay.
Do you think what happened to this young man, the cardiac arrest, was a result of the hit that he took? I, and I asked
I
that question. I asked that question, and before you answer, I asked that question because there's been situations where, um, you all these players they have physicals and stuff like that, and sometimes things are missed.
yeah,
Some players have heart conditions that they don't
mm,
know about,
yeah.
and they discover doing some type of procedure. I don't remember the player's name, but that recently happened to one player, and he had to have open heart surgery.
I
Or
remember that. Yeah.
yeah, sometimes that goes unnoticed. So
Okay.
I don't know anything. I don't want to speculate. I'm just thinking that.
But Marvin, you seen that was not a normal, like, you fall into the ground. That was
No,
a
that wasn't a normal
volatile.
situation.
So
No, it
it
wasn't.
doesn't take that much to throw the heart off beat, and
Mhm.
then from that point,
Right,
that's what it was explained to me by a doctor. That that volatile hit through
right,
that heart off beat, and then that right there caused that, that heart to, not function properly, and you
right,
really didn't know that it wasn't functioning properly till you stood up, and then that heart had to try to push that pressure through the body, and it was
right,
unable to do so.
Yeah.
So I think that was the biggest thing, that hit caused that.
right,
It was equivalent to a car crash
right.
and the
Yeah.
airbag hitting
No,
you.
Yeah.
no, and I
Yeah.
agree with you.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of unknowns here, and I maybe at some point we'll know what happened to this young man. At this point, it's just about his recovery.
I think the
Making through
main
this.
question is what does the NFL do to kind of you know put a little bit more safety precautions behind this? Can they do anything?
I,
So in baseball they have I know they have they have the foam protection that
Okay.
you wear underneath of your jersey. That way, it's there are things that you can do to try to lessen the impact of the chest area and things of that nature. I mean,
Mhm.
we wear chest. I mean, you wear shoulder pads, but do you really have anything protecting the chest area? And the answer to that would probably be no. I mean, I remember at one point in time, Dwayne Wade used to wear the Armor All pads
Yeah.
around his back, around his ribs and everything, and used to wear it because he knew that he would fall to the ground a lot. And that was a very popular shirt at one point in time, having a shirt underneath of the jersey that had extra insulation, so to
Mhm.
speak, built into the shirt. So that could be one of the things that they probably look at, probably having that in the chest area, things of that nature. So I mean, we have technology at our disposal that can help.
Yeah, I mean, I would go even further, and I'm going back to medical physicals. Understanding, individuals and their bodies and conditioning. I would go to the point of having these checkups and these scans on these guys, more regularly. Because I would assume they
Mm,
only do these physicals, at the beginning of the season or something like that. That they're not regular, and they probably should be. Considering that these guys play in all the elements,
yeah,
right? They're constantly in motion, so they're exerting themselves,
yeah,
right? And then there's a lot that can go wrong with it. I mean, as far as like what they can do on the field, as far as medical staff, I think they I think they got everything, right? They got the medical
yeah,
people on the sidelines.
yeah,
They run out there immediately. There's an ambulance somewhere in the stadium in case they got to, take someone to the hospital. So all of that stuff is there in place. But there is more that I think they could do.
Yeah, but here's the other
well,
thing that we're not taking into accountability is that the athlete of today is more physical than any other times, man. You have the athletes, I mean, with not even with the use of steroids. I'm just saying, just naturally being
Yeah,
having just some of the performance things like creatine and things of that nature.
yeah.
You have young men that's coming up here like 15, 16, that have the physique of grown men that's fully developed just because they
But,
started early.
but
and look at
you talked about it
oh,
earlier.
God.
I'm gonna just say this, Phil, before you go.
Yeah,
But you talked about it earlier. The impact of the hit, right?
yeah,
The physical nature of the game, and these guys are bigger, faster, and stronger, and colliding together. So you got that thing going on too. What's your thoughts,
yeah.
Phil?
I was gonna say, just speaking on the impact. I mean, like, let's look at it this way: T. Higgins is a 6'4", 235, and Hamler is what 5'9", 190. That's and then I kept looking at the play, it's like it wasn't like I said, it wasn't a dirty hit, it wasn't a dirty play. Like he led down and like his helmet is hitting his chest. That's a lot of physical strength hitting impact in his chest like that on a smaller dude.
Yeah,
So I mean, again, man, I feel like it's just one of those things where there have been talks that are maybe shutting down the preseason, shortening practice times. Um, of course, they're not going to shorten the NFL season, but I think there are some precautions coming.
yeah.
Definitely.
Well, I think we all should just like Don said, take a tactical pause here, and along with that
Yeah.
tactical pause, let's find out what happened before
Yeah.
we start speculating on,
Yeah.
was it the impact? Was
Yeah.
it, some type of vitamins or whatnot that he was taking or
Yeah.
whatever. I don't want to speculate, but
Yeah.
it could be an assortment of things. Let's figure out what happened and take this pause, figure it out, and see what we can do to make this game safer.
So
And
I guess
also,
I was going to say, so last question: if they do play Week 18, what would be your thoughts or perception towards this? Or is it gonna keep you focused on the games? Or you're just going to be like, that's a bad move, NFL.
bad
I
move
don't.
in the NFL from my point of view.
I think so too.
It depends on the state of this young man. Like if he comes out of it, if we get good news tonight,
Hmm.
okay, I'm with it.
Okay.
But if he continues in critical condition, tomorrow I'm canceling week 18, and if the NFL does it, I think it would be a bad move. It'll
Okay.
show a level of insensitivity.
Mm.
Yeah, and that's why I said that we need to have those leaders that can make those decisions behind closed doors. Just like we're having these tough conversations, they need to be having these even tougher conversations because they're going to be having to present this
Mm-hmm.
information in front of billionaires, and sometimes uh, the business mind does not see things always black and white.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, guys, let's look at this in a positive light. Let's
Yep.
look at this that this kid is going to make it out of this. I'm hopeful that he does because with the first responders responding when they did, doing CPR, get his heart pumping again within, seconds of this happening or however long it took. Wasn't that long. So I'm very hopeful that, he makes it out of this and give us the thumbs up like you normally see when players go down. That hey, I'm okay. So I'm hopeful that would happen. But let's just look at that he comes out of this. The season goes on. What are we looking at as far as playoff scenarios here, Don? Let's say they also make this Bengals Bills game a tie.
So
I think that would be the appropriate thing to do.
I was just about to say that. So they're not going to. I just read up on it. They're not going to continue that game. So it's probably going to be be a tie.
It's probably going to be a tie.
Yeah,
that's a smart thing to do.
Yeah, so they just announced that they're not going to continue that game. It's not going to be, on a different date or anything like that. So it's probably going to be presumed that's a tie.
Okay, all right. So let's presume that's a tie. What are our playoff scenarios here, Don?
Oh man, it's with the Bengals. The Bengals, they would have clinched with a win or a tie. That's going into Week 18, and that's going to be asking the Ravens what they going to really do with Lamar. I mean, we don't know if is it advantageous. Does the home game really mean that much to you that you're going to risk home field advantage and also risk a team that is not that deep in depth as far as the bench on offense or defense for one game. So I think Cincinnati right now they're playing pretty good ball, and I know that me being a Baltimore Ravens fan, I love to see the Ravens, beat up on Cincinnati, but at the same time, I think that game is not worth the playoffs because when you start the playoffs 0-0.
Yeah, both of you guys are in the playoffs. It's just the winner of the game will win the division, right? And
yes,
have
and they
home
get
field
the
advantage.
Home field advantage. That's it.
Okay. All right, who else do we have? I'm sure there's playoff implications with the Patriots and Bills.
So, Bills, Bengals, Chiefs for the #1 seed.
Okay.
But it draws down a little bit different. So you're looking at the Bills. The Bills clinch a first round bye and home field advantage with a win, a loss to Kansas City, plus a Cincinnati loss or tie, or the Buffalo, or they win and Kansas City loses. So that's a lot. But they first must win their game.
Now,
but if they tie, Kansas City has to lose in order for them to clinch a first round bye.
I wonder if that has changed now that this game won't resume and they'll likely get a tie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That scenario probably has changed for them.
I think the Chiefs will have to lose.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Chiefs. That's what I said. The Chiefs will have to lose.
Yeah.
The Chiefs will have to lose in both scenarios, whether they Buffalo wins or tie. The Chiefs have to lose in order for them to get that first week bye.
Okay.
And the Chiefs play the Raiders this week. But I think the most important we haven't really touched on yet. I don't know if we get ready to, is this Titans and Jaguars scenario.
I know that's the big one too. That the winner. Wins
the division, but I think it's even more pivotal for the Jaguars because if the Jaguars don't win, that means that it's almost like Mission Impossible because now you're asking Miami loss. It takes a Miami loss, New England, as well as Pittsburgh to lose in order for them to even, have any type of hope, and to clinch a playoff bid, meaning that they didn't win their game.
I actually think Jaguars are going to pull it out because I think the Titans are limping right now. Tannehill's out.
Yeah.
They're not starting Malik Willis. I don't know. I don't have a clue what's going on over there.
He didn't look good, man. He did not look good out there.
He's still a rookie.
I know, but he didn't even look rookie level good.
Oh yeah.
Like I was expecting some improvement over time, and it wasn't really there. I don't know.
Yeah, right now the Titans are on the backslide. They're suffering just like most teams are. They're getting hurt at the wrong time of the season, right near the end of the season, playoff bound, and also every game counts, and we're looking at playoff implications.
But I think the Titans have lost 5 in a row, or was that?
Yep.
I think the Dolphins have lost 5 in a row. I know the Dolphins lost 5 in a row because they were 83. And I think the Titans have lost just as many. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So they're both on their way out of playoff contention after such a good start, which is amazing. Because I think Phil and I said, what was it, last week or the week before, I just can't see the Titans just falling completely off to let the Jaguars in it. But that's exactly what happened. The Titans have fallen completely
Jaguars on a 5-game win streak.
Yeah.
And not only that, you're looking also, the New England Patriots. They clinch a playoff bid with either they flat out win or they tie. Miami has to lose or tie, and Pittsburgh has to lose or tie.
Wow.
Or Miami loses, Pittsburgh loses, and the Jags win or tie. So that's a lot, to keep track of. And now let's transition to Miami. You're looking at Miami clinch your playoff berth if Miami wins and New England loses or ties, or you're looking at Miami ties, New England loses, plus Pittsburgh has to lose or tie.
Oh man, that's giving me a headache. That's a
Oh,
lot.
hold on, hold on, and let's talk about Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh clinches, huh?
Is Tua playing?
No.
Tua will not be playing.
No.
And Teddy has dislocated his pinky finger throwing on his
He's
throwing
not
hand.
playing. I was about
So
to
the
say
third
that,
string quarterback. So there's a lot going on right there. And like I said,
they play the
before,
Jets. They play the
Jets. And I think the Jets
The Jets got eliminated.
got
Oh, they did?
eliminated.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
I think they want to be playing the version of the spoiler, taking somebody home with you. And now let's look at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh clinches a playoff bid where Pittsburgh wins. Miami loses or ties, and New England has to lose or tie. Or Pittsburgh ties, Miami loses, and New England loses. So Pittsburgh got a lot of wishing on the star as well going on to that. And now let's traverse over to the NFC, which, man, let's start with Philadelphia. Philadelphia, they got to win, and they got to win or tie, and hope that, or the Cowboys lose, plus San Francisco loses, and they'll be able to maintain the number 1 seed. That's been a lot going on with Philly right now. I know we're gonna talk about the issues. Good, yes, Marvin.
Well, I didn't even realize. I'm just happened to look. I didn't realize the 49ers were 12-4. Oh my God.
With a backup quarterback.
What a backup quarterback.
My fault, with a third string quarterback, because that guy was packing groceries somewhere.
Didn't they start 3-4 or 2-4?
Yeah, they didn't start with a good record. Remember, they didn't play well with Trey Lance.
No, they didn't. And they won. I think they won 1 game with Garoppolo.
But and hold on, and they winning without
Debo.
Debo. But they got the machine over there.
Yeah.
the best midseason trade ever.
Wow.
McCaffrey. So he's a scoring machine, and he keeps on ticking. So and let's talk about that. San Francisco attains the number 1 seed with a win plus a Philly loss. And now let's look at, they, like we said, they're playing good ball. But let's look at Dallas. Even though Dallas has been, giving the ball over, 10 interceptions since Thanksgiving, Dallas have changed the number 1 seed with a win, Philly loss, and a San Francisco loss. That's a bit much to see Francisco and Philly lose. But Philly has been playing terrible football as of late.
Yeah, and I don't see San Francisco losing to Arizona.
Yeah, but here's the other part. San Francisco obtains a number 2 seed with a San Francisco win and a Philly win or tie, or San Francisco ties, Minnesota loses or ties, or San Francisco loses and Minnesota loses, and that's how they retain the number 2 seed.
Man, and then Packers, all they got to do is beat the Lions to get in.
Oh, well, we're going to get down to that because you're looking at what Philly has to do. So if Philly loses, Dallas loses, and San Francisco wins, then, Philly's number 2. Minnesota can obtain the number 2 seed. That's with a Minnesota win and a San Francisco loss, or a Minnesota tie and a San Francisco loss. And that's a lot going on right there. But like you just said, if you go all the way down to the bottom and let's look at, the Giants, they locked in. But let's talk about the Seahawks. The Seahawks obtained the number 7 seed with a win.
No, the Giants are eliminated, right?
No, the Giants are locked. They locked in.
Oh,
Yeah.
They are locked
Oh,
into
they are.
the number 6 seed.
Oh,
Yeah.
But the number
oh,
seven
okay.
seed, the number
Oh,
seven
okay.
seed,
You're right. You're right.
you got to
Let me
look
see.
at the Seahawks can obtain the number 7 seed with a win and a Green Bay loss or tie, or you're looking at the Seahawks winning. I mean, tying Detroit, tying, and Washington has to lose or tie. And that's a lot going on with that situation. But also,
Yeah.
you're looking at Detroit, who's been, I don't know what Detroit team is going to show up.
No.
I
You
They're a
don't know
frustration
which Green
team.
Bay team's gonna show up.
Yeah. You don't know which Panthers team is going to show up. They're all frustrating.
But let's talk about Detroit. So Detroit obtains the number 7 seed with a win and the Seahawks loss or tie. Or Detroit ties and Seattle loses. Or Detroit ties, Seattle ties, and Washington wins. And Green Bay obtains the number 7 seed with a flat out win.
Flat out win. Yep.
Mm.
And we were down on the Packers. And
Yeah.
they gave your Minnesota Vikings the business. I was looking at that game. I was like, okay, Kirk, I want to see you come back from this one.
Don't remind me, please.
There is a lot going on with this playoffs implications. This is the most, I mean, this is a lot going on for just one round. And let's go back to what Philly, because Philly lost last week, but they lost big because they also lost a chance to obtain the top 5 pick,
Yeah, the top 10 pick. Yeah.
top 10 pick.
Yep. Yep.
Well, I thought they had the Saints pick.
They do. If they would have beat us,
Oh.
they would have solidified a top 10 pick. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah. So Saints pulled off the win. Gordon Minshew, he did not look good. I think he cost them the game. I think if Jalen Hurts was there, they would have played better. But he threw a pick six that pretty much ended the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This 2 weeks in a row we're talking
That's the
about.
best the Saints have looked all year.
But is it the Saints looking good, or is it that Philly for 2 weeks in a row suspect defense?
Mm.
Yeah, they're a little bit banged up on the defensive line. So
I think when you don't have your quarterback, Jalen Hurts, I think it makes a big difference.
Yeah.
I mean, Minshew started the game with 3 straight 3-and-outs. I mean, he didn't help the defense at all. And, the Saints offense, shaky at best. I mean, they do some trickeration, which annoys me. Andy Dalton, he started the game like, I think 9 for 9. He was solid, but that's just what he is. He's solid, nothing spectacular. We won the game 20 to 10. So it wasn't like we beat them 51 to 10.
Yeah.
So, and 7 of those points came from Gordon Minshew. So thank you. All right, is that all the different playoff scenarios we got out there?
Yeah, that's the whole key in the nutshell. The playoff scenarios, like I said before, a lot to pay attention to. Once we figure out how the NFL chooses to move forward,
Yep.
we'll be able to closely watch some of these things. Every game is going to be a nail biter all the way to the end. If you are a coach and you are playing the game simultaneously, you better have an assistant coach somewhere keeping the score, and you better have somebody on the field that has that mic and saying, "Hey, we got to win this because they just lost."
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm not gonna do a full recap here, but I'm just let you guys know, Phil is still in the driver's seat. He's doing his thing. That you can officially say you're in the driver's seat. You were saying this before when you were like 50%, 52%.
Where am I at now, man? Put some respect on my number.
Well,
Put some respect on my
you went 12-3. It was pretty impressive. 12-3 last week.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, 12-3. So you're doing it. So I'll calculate the win percentage. Daryl went 10-5 last week, and I went 9-6, and Don 7-8.
Oh.
Yeah, this was a tough one.
Yeah,
It's a tough one no more. I mean,
Man.
nobody saw a lot of those games. I mean,
yeah.
man.
Well, I'm the one game that shocked me that I picked and I changed my pick was I picked the Rams over the Chargers. I'm like, why did I do that? Yeah, but foolishly, I picked the Rams over the Chargers. So anyway,
I like to say something about my Ravens because I know we had a special guest on last week, and I was kind of off the chain to him a little bit. I'm gonna give him his flowers while he can still smell them. They played a tough game. One thing I can say about Pittsburgh is they not an easy win, and that's where Baltimore didn't understand that. You got to go in there and you say when you see your enemy drowning, you got to keep pouring water on them. We had that game under control and we let them march down the field. That's something that we can't do. But at the same time, we got to do better clock management with controlling that ball. We got to make completions. And when the ball hits your hands, you got to make those catches. Likely is going to be an up and coming tight end right now. He has not evolved to that solid number two tight end that we need in order to have that balanced double tight end set. But he called it. Even though that's like shooting darts in the dark.
whoa, he didn't just call it. We all called it, but you.
Y'all, yeah, I
Yeah, we
I'm
all
gonna get
called it.
hey Phil, hey the disrespect. I want y'all to keep that same energy because
well,
it's coming.
well, speaking of the disrespect, I got a text from D Riles, and he basically said, "Tell Big Mouth Clutch Kenny says hello." So,
Clutch with the K, right?
you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna have to tell him. He has the coin that Clutch with a K. Clutch Kenny is what he's calling him. He said hello. So,
Oh man.
well, considering that both of your teams lost, and my team was the only team to win this week,
Hey, have your time, but how clutch Kenny make the playoffs? Because that's clutch.
I think that's fair. Yeah. Well, Clutch Kenny. Yeah, in order to be clutch, you got to make the playoffs. You got to do something there, get them in there. For my team, yeah, we're not going to the playoffs. We've been eliminated. We chose to lose this season. That's how I feel about it. We had an opportunity to make the playoffs, to be a good team, and the Saints organization, media, and fan chose to have a losing season. I said it before, and I'm gonna say it again. It's not a coincidence. Taysom Hill went 7-2 as a starter, 5-0 against division opponents, and there's some ridiculous record this season. Listen, this is amazing. Like 6 of the 7 wins, they've determined if he touches the ball more than 10 times a game, the Saints are like 6-1 or something ridiculous. And I'm like, that's not a coincidence anymore. This guy should be the starting quarterback, but hey, I get it. People are against him. They don't like him for whatever reason. To me, if you don't like this guy as the quarterback, then you don't like winning. So deal with it. And this whole idea that he's a tight end, most of his production comes at the quarterback position. And he has I think 600 yards rushing on the season, 21 touchdowns, something ridiculous. Now, I'm sorry, I 21 touchdowns. I mean, I think that's throughout his career, but he has several touchdowns on the season, whether it's receiving, rushing, throwing. He has 2 touchdowns throwing the ball, and 9 touchdowns rushing, I believe it is. I'm gonna look it up, but it's ridiculous. But hey, this is what you want. Enjoy it. We're eliminated.
Hey Phil, he said they chose they chose like they had a choice.
I think they had a choice.
One many options. Yeah, Jameis Winston and Andy Dalton. One many options.
To me, if that's your options, you've chosen to lose.
Okay.
Well, actually, Dennis Allen is actually on the hot seat, so Black Monday is coming. He may be on that list.
I think he's going to keep his job now.
Oh, you think so?
Well, yeah, they're on a 3-game. Is it 3 games?
Yeah,
I think it's 3-game winning streak. Yeah, Falcons, Browns, now the Eagles, and he's probably
he was in a
close
division
out.
hunt too. He was in a division hunt too.
Yeah. So, and know what his solution was for all of this? I got to give the ball to Taysom Hill at least 10 times a game. And now we have gone full quarterback power run plays. Like literally, like we do it at the goal line 3 straight plays in a row. And the dude gets in the end zone. It's ridiculous. You got to go back and watch the highlights on this. This is part of our game plan. Andy Dalton throws the ball less than 20 times a game. Dumb.
If only they would have done this 6 weeks ago.
If only I had done this at the beginning of the season.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Well, you know, since you want to talk slick.
Well, look, man, I've been telling you guys this all season long. I've been telling you this all season long about Kirk Cousins. Once again, I said we can't stop anybody on defense and we can't score on offense now. I'm telling you, they are pinpointing Justin Jefferson. It's just it's going to be a first round exit. As I said, I'm looking at the playoff picture. Well, we might be able to beat the Giants. I'll say we can probably beat the Giants. So, but if we play the Giants, that's a win. But if we play the Buccaneers or even the Cowboys, that's an L. That's an L coming. It's going to be a first round exit coming out for us. So, you know, there are talks of us trading Kirk Cousins next year, which I think we should. I don't know what we're going to get for him.
Whoa. Y'all trading Kirk Cousins next year?
Oh yeah. Trading Kirk Cousins next year.
Oh, we'll take him.
Oh yeah, we'll trade him to the Saints. Give us all your picks.
I don't know about that. We don't have any picks to give you, but we'll take him. If we'll take him off your hands.
Yeah. Well, we'll trade him. You know, we'll see, man. We'll see. You know, we'll see. I think they're gonna trade him.
We'll see. Oh, by the way, Taysom Hill has 11 touchdowns, 2 receiving, 7 rushing, and 2 more passing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 11.
If only the coaching staff could see those stats and played them a long time ago.
Yes.
I can't control common sense. Common sense isn't so common. You know.
Yeah.
That's just what it is.
And the rookie wide receiver looking good too.
Yeah, he is. I mean, he's probably the one bright spot for this year. The one thing that they got right. So,
are y'all gonna cut Alvin Kamara?
No, they can't. They owe him too much money. It'd be a lot of dead cap money. So, I mean, look how bad our division is. It only took 9 games to win the division.
Well, actually, you guys might win it next year because Tom Brady's probably going to leave the Bucs. And
I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't know if we can win it. I mean, we couldn't beat out the Panthers. They had Baker Mayfield. So I don't know. It depends. I mean, look, quarterback is the most important position. It is hard to get right, and for them to go into the season, you know, hey, we're just going to go with Jameis Winston. When you got 8 years of data, I'm a data man. I got 8 years of it that tells me not good, and I got 13 years of Andy Dalton saying, man, he was really good early on, but the last 2, not so much. He's solid, but not good. I don't know what else you need, but hey, you know, I want to thank y'all all for joining us once again. As I've said before, we do this every week. Make sure you subscribe, like, comment, and share. And we'll catch you next week, guys. Take care.